My name is Rachel Morgan, and I'm 28. When my fiancé said, "My bachelor party is a week-long Vegas trip with my female best friend. Deal with it." I didn't scream, throw my napkin, or knock over my wine glass. I just felt something inside me go very still, like a chalk line snapping taut in my chest, blue dust hanging in the air before it settles into a straight, non-negotiable edge. We were sitting at our favorite Italian place, the one with the flickering candles and the too loud espresso machine, going over wedding plans. Venue booked, caterer chosen, invitations stacked in neat little piles back at our apartment. This was supposed to be the fun part. Final tweaks, dumb jokes about centerpieces, arguing over cake flavors. Dylan twirled his fork in his pasta, glanced at his phone, then said it like a throwaway comment. "So, I've decided on Vegas for my bachelor party. Week-long trip. It's going to be epic." I smiled automatically. "Nice. Big group?" He took a sip of his drink. "Oh, it's just me and Kara." My fork paused halfway to my mouth. "Kara," I repeated. "Just you two?" He rolled his eyes, like I'd asked if the sky was still up there. "Don't start. She's my best friend." "Your straight female best friend," I said quietly. He leaned back, chair creaking. "We've been friends since college, Rach. You know this." "I do," I said. "I also know you two dated sophomore year and hooked up again senior year, right before that Cancun trip you both pretend was just the group." "That was forever ago," he said, dismissing it with a wave. "We're basically like siblings now." I stared at him. Siblings don't book week-long Vegas vacations as a two-person bachelor party. He threw his napkin onto the table like a flag. "This is exactly why I didn't want to tell you yet. I knew you'd make it weird." "I'm not making it weird," I said, my voice still maddeningly calm. "It is weird. Bachelor parties are usually with your groomsmen, your guy friends." "Says who?" he shot back. "It's my party. I can celebrate however I want. Kara and I have been planning this trip forever." My stomach dropped. "Planning it forever? Funny, this is the first I'm hearing of it." "Because I knew you'd react like this," he said. "Look, nothing is happening between us. Nothing has happened in years. You need to trust me." "This isn't about trust," I replied. "It's about respect, about what's appropriate when you're about to marry someone." His face hardened, lines carving in around his mouth. "I'm going on this trip, Rachel. It's already booked. Kara took time off work. This is happening. If you're not comfortable with it..." He shrugged. "Then deal with it. I'm not canceling because you're insecure." I blinked. The word hit like a slap I hadn't seen coming. "Insecure," I repeated. "Dylan, any reasonable person would have a problem with this." "Well, then maybe I need someone less reasonable," he said, giving me that crooked smile that used to charm me, now suddenly ugly. "This is who I am. I have female friends. I'm not changing that for you or anyone else." The conversation circled for another hour, spiraling like water circling a drain. Every calm boundary I tried to set was labeled controlling. Every "this hurts my feelings" turned into "you're jealous" or "you're trying to manage my friendships." By dessert, I realized we weren't talking about a trip anymore. We were talking about the rest of my life with someone who thought my discomfort was a joke. Finally, my voice came out flat. "Fine, have fun on your trip." He smiled, smug relief relaxing his shoulders. "See? Was that so hard?" I smiled back, the way you smile at a stranger who just stepped in front of your car. "Not at all." That night, I lay in bed beside him while he snored softly, scrolling through hotel options with Kara in their group chat, his phone screen lighting up his face with flashes of neon. He looked like someone already halfway to Vegas, halfway out of our life. I stared at the ceiling. I wasn't thinking about whether to call off the wedding. That decision had already been made somewhere in the quiet place inside me where the chalk line had snapped into position. I was thinking about how to walk away without letting that smug look be the last thing he remembered about me. I could just break it off, return the ring, cancel everything, let him and Kara disappear into their week in Vegas and whatever happened after. But something about the way he'd said, "Then deal with it," like my feelings were a fly buzzing around his head, made me want to do something more deliberate. Not petty, precise. The next morning, I woke up before him, made coffee, and pulled out my phone. First call was to Kara's ex. "Hey, Logan," I said when he picked up. "It's Rachel, Dylan's fiancé." He hesitated. "Oh, hey, what's up?" I could practically hear him bracing for bad news. "We met at that 4th of July barbecue last year," I added. "You brought the jalapeno cornbread." He laughed softly. "Right, that was me. So, everything okay?" "Depends on how you feel about irony," I said. "You heard about Dylan's bachelor trip?" "No," he said slowly. "What about it?" He and Kara are going to Vegas for a week, I said. Just the two of them, for his bachelor party. There was a sharp inhale on the line. Wait, what? Yeah, I said. And apparently, I'm insecure for having any issue with that. Logan swore under his breath. She's unbelievable. So here's where you come in, I said. I'm planning my own little bachelorette week. Not Vegas, cabin by the lake, mixed group of friends. I was thinking of inviting you. Silence, then cautiously. To get under Kara's skin? To hold up a mirror, I said. You're her ex-boyfriend. You know exactly how she'd react if I went away for a week alone with you. Meanwhile, she thinks it's totally fine to go to Vegas for 7 days with my fiancé, who is also her ex. He was quiet for a long beat, then he laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. It was the sound you make when someone finally says out loud what you've been swallowing for years. I'm in, he said. Tell me when and where. I exhaled slowly, one piece in place. Over the next few days, I put the rest of the plan in motion. I created a group chat, Rach is almost definitely better than Vegas party. I added a handful of my closest friends. Then I added Logan. All right, everyone, I typed. Bachelorette week at the lake. Same week as Dylan's Vegas trip. Cabin is huge. Bonfire pit, kayaks, terrible cell service. Who's in? My friend Mel responded first. Me. If I don't get a break from work, I will start screaming in the break room. Count me in, texted Jordan. Been dying for an excuse to sit by water and make bad decisions. Logan waited a full 5 minutes. Just long enough, I suspected, to let the notification sit where it could be seen if anyone happened to glance at his phone, then replied, Sounds fun. Thanks for the invite, Rachel. I smiled to myself and hit post on my stories. A photo of a lakeside cabin I'd bookmarked months ago with the caption, Bachelor versus Bachelorette Showdown. Low-key lake trip for me, neon hangover for him. I didn't tag Dylan, I didn't need to. That evening, Dylan texted me from the living room while I was in the kitchen, rinsing a wine glass we weren't using. The rim hummed under my thumb, a thin, steady note. Dylan, we need to talk. I dried my hands and walked out to the couch. He was sitting there, phone in hand, jaw clenched. So, I said, leaning on the doorway, what's up? He didn't look amused. This thing with Logan. I tilted my head. What thing? You invited him to your bachelorette trip, he said. You know exactly what I'm talking about. He's a friend, I said. Problem? Yes, problem, Dylan snapped. He's Kara's ex. This is inappropriate, Rachel. I let the word hang there between us. Inappropriate, I repeated softly. You know how. He opened his mouth, then closed it. You're doing this to get back at me. I shrugged. I thought we were cool with trips involving exes and opposite-sex best friends. That's what you said, right? That I needed to trust you? His eyes flashed. This is different. How? I asked. Spell it out for me. He didn't have an answer. Not yet. But the seed of panic was there, small and bright and real. And for the first time since he'd said, deal with it, I felt something like peace. Part 2. The next 2 days were oddly quiet. Too quiet. Dylan didn't mention Vegas again. Didn't mention me either. He still kissed my cheek before leaving for work, but it felt like a reflex, a habit his lips hadn't learned how to break yet. By the third night, I caught him scrolling Kara's Instagram at 1 a.m., his thumb hovering on a bikini photo from 2 summers ago. He didn't like it, but he stared long enough for the image to burn through the dim light between us. That was the moment I knew. He wasn't just going to Vegas with Kara. He was going for her. And she knew it too. The next morning, Kara posted a photo, 2 plane tickets side by side. Countdown, 6 days till we cause trouble. No tag, no names. But one of the tickets had Mr. D. Morgan half visible. Subtle, almost. That afternoon, I posted a photo of my own, the cabin's bonfire pit borrowed from the rental site. Meanwhile, lakeside peace. Vegas chaos. Same week, better view. Within 10 minutes, Kara's story disappeared. By evening, my phone buzzed. Dylan. So this is what we're doing now? Me. You mean existing? Dylan. You know what I mean. Me. Do I? Because apparently I make everything weird when I have feelings. Dylan. You're being manipulative. Me. Funny. That's exactly what I was about to say. He came home furious. The front door slammed. I kept stirring the pot of soup on the stove, the rhythm of the spoon keeping me anchored. He stormed into the kitchen. You're really doing this? Doing what? This fake bachelorette thing. Fake? I echoed. Everyone's confirmed. Cabin's booked. Even got a discount for early reservation. He blinked, like he'd expected me to crumble at the first confrontation. You think this makes you look mature? I turned off the stove, faced him fully. No, but it makes you look hypocritical. Dylan laughed, short, sharp, empty. So what, you're trying to teach me a lesson? That's childish, Rach. Maybe, I said, but it's the only language you seem to understand. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. You're doing this because you're jealous. No, I said softly. I'm doing this because I'm tired. That made him stop. Tired of being told that boundaries are insecurities, that respect is optional, that I should swallow my discomfort to protect your ego. Rach! Save it, I said. You've made your choice. I'm just making mine. 2 nights later, my phone lit up again, this time with Kara's name. Kara, really classy, Rach, inviting my ex? Me, really classy going to Vegas with mine. Kara, Dylan's not your ex. Me, not yet. She didn't reply. The next day, Dylan texted again. We need to talk. Me, you, and Kara. Tonight. I smiled. Perfect, I whispered to myself. At 7 p.m., they showed up. Kara in a leather jacket and too much perfume. Dylan in the same button-up he'd worn to our engagement photo shoot. The irony wasn't lost on me. I poured drinks before anyone spoke. So, what's the issue? Kara crossed her arms. You know what the issue is. Enlighten me. You're being vindictive, she snapped. You invited Logan just to make us uncomfortable. Interesting, I said. Because I remember someone saying opposite-sex friendships are totally fine and exes are ancient history. That's different, Dylan said quickly. How? I asked again, keeping my tone even. Because, he started, but Kara cut in. Because you don't have that kind of friendship with Logan. You barely know him. True, I said, but you barely dated Dylan before you started sleeping together again senior year, didn't you? Her face flushed scarlet. That was before me, I finished. I know, but it's still history, and you both decided it's fine for exes to vacation together for a week. Dylan slammed his glass down. We're not doing anything wrong. Neither am I. You're deliberately trying to provoke us. Then you admit there is something to provoke, I said. Silence. He looked between me and Kara, his face hardening. You're twisting this. You're trying to make me look bad. I tilted my head. You don't need my help for that. He exhaled sharply through his nose, lowering his voice. Look, maybe the Vegas thing wasn't the best call. Maybe we shorten it, make it a weekend, invite more people, compromise. I almost smiled. Oh, now we're compromising. Rachin! Dylan, I brought this up days ago. You told me to deal with it, that my feelings didn't matter. Now that your little trip might have consequences, suddenly you want to talk? His jaw flexed. You're doing this out of spite. I'm doing this out of fairness. If you go on that trip with him, Kara snapped, we're done. I laughed softly. Kara, sweetie, we were done the moment he chose your vacation over my respect. Dylan's eyes widened. Wait, what do you mean? I pulled my phone from my back pocket, scrolled, and held it out to him. Here, email confirmations. Venue, caterer, florist, all canceled. He froze. You canceled our wedding? 3 days ago. You can't, Rachel, we can fix this. No, Dylan, I said, steady and quiet. You can't fix something you refuse to admit is broken. Kara stepped forward. You're throwing away 3 years over one trip? No, I said. I'm ending a relationship with someone who tells me to deal with it when I set a boundary. The trip just revealed who he really is. Dylan reached for my hand. Rach, please. I stepped back. You should go. He hesitated, then finally turned toward the door. Kara followed, muttering something under her breath. When the door closed, the apartment went still. I poured out the untouched drinks, rinsed one of the glasses, and turned it in a towel until the rim sang. That thin, perfect note filled the silence between breaths. It sounded like freedom. Part 3. 3 months later, I could almost laugh at how small that apartment had felt, like all the air inside it belonged to someone else. Now I wake up to quiet. No half-open drawers, no second toothbrush, no text blinking blue at 2 a.m., asking if I'm still mad about this. Just the sound of the lake through my window, and the faint smell of coffee that's mine alone. The wedding was supposed to be last weekend. Instead, I spent the day kayaking with Mel and Logan. It rained. We laughed anyway. After the cancellation, the fallout came fast. First came anger. Dozens of texts, calls, even a few midnight knocks at my door. Dylan's voice through the peephole. You're ruining both our lives over nothing, Rachel. When I didn't answer, the tone changed. Then came the guilt trips. Dylan, we can go to therapy. We can start over. You can't just throw away everything we built. But here's the thing. He'd thrown it away first, when he looked me in the eye and told me my boundaries were an inconvenience. Kara tried her own version of damage control. She called me a jealous control freak on social media, told mutual friends I'd canceled the wedding out of paranoia. Her favorite line, Rachel just couldn't handle that I'm part of his life. It almost worked for a while. Some people pulled back. Others texted carefully neutral messages. Hope you're okay. Breakups are hard. But then the photos started. 2 weeks after my canceled wedding date, Kara posted a picture of her and Dylan, his arm around her, same crooked smile he used to flash at me. Caption: sometimes the right person was there all along. I didn't comment. I didn't block her either. People reveal themselves better when you let them speak uninterrupted. A month later, Logan called. Guess who texted me? He said. Let me guess, Kara. He laughed, low and bitter. Bingo. She said I shouldn't involve myself in drama that doesn't concern me. I smiled into my coffee. Which drama was she referring to? The Vegas one or the new relationship announcement? He chuckled. Honestly, I stopped asking. But you'll love this. Dylan messaged me too. Said he and Kara didn't actually go to Vegas. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Apparently he couldn't get the time off work, so the big trip was postponed indefinitely. I laughed. An honest, belly-deep laugh that startled even me. All that noise for a trip that never happened? Exactly, Logan paused. It's poetic, isn't it? Yeah, I said, it really is. For a while, I still felt echoes, tiny, invisible things that caught me when I wasn't looking. The way my hand would reach for a second mug out of habit, the way my brain still rehearsed arguments we'd never finished, the way I'd wake up at 3 a.m. expecting to hear his breathing beside me. Grief doesn't always look like heartbreak. Sometimes it looks like empty space where noise used to be. But slowly, the quiet started to feel like peace instead of absence. My mom took longer to understand. All couples fight, sweetheart, she'd said after I told her everything. He's just immature. Men grow up when they have something to lose. Mom, I said gently, I was the thing he lost. That silenced her for a while. Then one afternoon, she called back. You were right, she said softly. He didn't want a partner. He wanted permission. I didn't cry, but something in me finally unclenched. Now, when I see Dylan's name pop up in old messages, I don't feel anger, just relief. Because if he hadn't shown me who he was then, I might have found out years later, after vows, after paperwork, after promises too tangled to undo. I heard through mutual friends that he and Kara are officially together now. Apparently they tell everyone it just happened after my breakup. Sure, just like Vegas just happened. They deserve each other, truly. Two people who believe boundaries are optional, who call manipulation honesty and disrespect just how I am. Logan and I grab coffee sometimes. No romance, no tension, just the strange comfort of two people who survived the same lie. Once, over cappuccinos, he said, You know what Kara hated most? The mirror. Not the trip, not the lake, not you. Just seeing herself reflected. I smiled. Yeah, mirrors are funny that way. Lately, I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, just dinners, laughter, slow conversations about nothing and everything. But this time, I listen differently. I pay attention to how someone handles a no, not how well they perform a yes. If I could tell my old self one thing, it would be this. When someone shows you they don't respect you, don't wait for an apology that never comes. Believe them, the first time. Because peace isn't something you negotiate with people who benefit from your discomfort. Sometimes peace is the quiet sound of a glass rim singing in an empty kitchen, and knowing that silence belongs entirely to you.